Inventor's Day Trivia. We have here with us Heather with Love of Learning, and she's going to be talking to us a little bit about what you can find in the Love of Learning Club and what kind of activities that we're going to be doing here today. So go ahead and comment if you are joining us live or if you are joining us on the replay, who you have joining us. We'd love to see you guys and give you a shout out.
Yes. So while you are doing that, I will tell you a little bit about Love of Learning. So we have everything separated into clubs by subject. Within clubs are very specific lessons. So, for example, famous Black inventors would fall under Science Club. And in fact, I am going to be doing part 2 of this because I accidentally maybe not so accidentally, I'm not so sure. I researched 10 inventors and did not want to go way past my time. So part 2 of this, if you would like to join, we are live tomorrow at 4:45 Eastern time. But we also record everything so you can access on demand. And there will be printables as well. So that is what you can expect from every single club that we have. So, Science Club covers everything from people to scientific principles to things like we just did magnets. We're doing cloning later this month. We have all sorts of fun things going on. But tomorrow, in particular, is going to be part 2 of Famous Black Inventors. We also have History Club, which also has individuals in it. We have Susan B. Anthony coming up. We have I'm trying to think of some other things. We just did the Hindenburg disaster. So, things of that nature, people, places, events. We've done countries. So, we've done New Zealand, Japan, things of that nature. And then we have animal trivia because animals, if you've been doing my trivia classes for a while, you'll notice I cover a lot of animals. They're have a special place in my heart. So we find weird animals and even weirder things about them. We recently did the platypus. That was so much fun. So that is something you can expect in that class. And then I also have things that fall under writing club, which is different types of writing, opinion, informative, creative. And then finally, we have language arts club, and that covers a wide range of things. So everything from phonics to spelling to grammar to writing to morphology and reading comprehension. It covers everything. And we have a new set of concepts and skills every single week. And I shouldn't say finally, because next week we are going to be launching a new club, Building Club, where there will be a theme each week. And you come with whatever building tools you like to use, whether that's Legos or blocks or Lincoln Logs, whatever the case may be. And you do your interpretation of the theme and share it with everybody else at the end. So it's going to be part social, part, I don't know, very focused building. It's going to be new, so I'm not entirely sure how it's going to go, but that's what it's going to look like. But overall, Love of Learning offers both online, which consists of live and on demand, as well as printable activities and quizzes and writing assignments and all sorts of things. So we're really covering all the bases.
Hi, Lily. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, welcome. All right. I cannot see names, but I can see comments. So that is helpful. Did you have anything else you wanted to add before I got started?
I think that we can start getting into the trivia now.
Okay, fantastic. You have Lincoln Logs. Wonderful. Okay, so we are going to do this a little bit differently than my trivia in the past, mostly because I'm covering five different people and not like a single subject. So we are going to be talking today about Henry Blair, Joseph Winters, Alexander Miles, Sarah E. Good, and Granville Woods. So, is there anything you know about any of these fantastic individuals? anything you know already?
No, I think these might be new to me, so I'm excited.
Yeah, they were super fascinating to me. Never heard of any of them. That's fine. So that is actually why I'm doing things a little bit differently. So in the past, I've done like lions or something. Most people are familiar with lions. So I didn't feel the need to really oops. Getting an error. Okay. I can no longer see the comments. Hopefully I'm still live.
I
I
still hear
have
you.
Okay, fantastic. I have an oops, something went wrong and all the comments went away. Okay. Well, so let's get started then. I'll show you how I'm doing this a little bit differently. So, we're going to talk about Henry Blair first. And I'm not going to hide who he is because that would make this significantly more difficult. So, I'll tell you a little bit about him and then you can answer questions based on this new knowledge. So, he was born in 1807. The exact date is not known, but he was born in Montgomery County, Maryland, which I happen to live in for a while. I lived in, let's see, I lived there for like 10 years. So I thought that that was super interesting. His main inventions that he's known for are the seed planter and the cotton planter. So that is going to come into play. He died in 1860, also in Maryland, although the exact date and location not known. And he was approximately 53 years old. So we are actually going to get on a very wide range of spectrum in terms of age. I was telling my husband about this. I was like, "Wow, 53 feels young," and he said, "Well, it was 1860." So wait until you see the oldest one. Okay, well, you're going to have to be my comment eyes because I cannot see comments, unfortunately, at all. Like the
Okay,
screen
so
is just missing.
I popped it up for you.
Okay.
So Lily's question was he basically died when he was 60. She was like, that's really young. Shocked face.
Oh, younger. He was 53. He died in 1860. So, yeah, I sadly no, I can't even see it in the part you pop up. I don't know what's going on. I'm a tech curse. All right,
Let's
so let's talk about Henry Blair, and just be my interpreter, I suppose. All right, so true or false? Blair was the only inventor to have X as his patent number.
Looks like we
What do you think?
have 5 more people joining us. So go ahead and drop in the comments if you know anything about Henry Blair and where you're joining us from, so we can give you a shout out. I think that this one is going to be true. What do you think, Lily? Oh, she would like to know what a patent number is.
Okay, fantastic question. So when you file a patent with the US patent patent hello words patent department, you are assigned a number when you are granted that patent. If you guys go back to my bizarre inventions class, it was so much fun. You can see a little bit more about patent numbers there, but you are assigned a specific number when you receive an official patent. And what is a patent? Second, awesome question. So it's when you design something, you submit it to the government and they review it and make sure that no one else has invented this same thing for this same purpose. And if that is the case, again, you're not inventing the same thing for the same purpose, you will be granted a patent that then people cannot use for their own purposes. Does that make sense?
So it makes sure that if you invent something new, you go and tell them, hey, I invented this new thing. Can you make sure no one else can invent this thing too?
Exactly. Exactly. So in that bizarre inventions trivia class, I actually show pictures of the patents so you can see exactly what that would look like. So their paperwork and the official number and all of that. So, okay. Now that we know that, what do we think about Blair being the only inventor to have X as his patent number?
Lily says that she thinks it's true as well.
Okay. All right. There's already a sad face. Oh no. Okay, so you guys both think this is true. So not as the patent number, but he was the only person to sign it with an X. So when you get a patent, you also sign. There's lots of legal documents you're going to need to sign in your life, sadly. Um, but unfortunately, due to his lack of education, he couldn't read or write. So signing an X is a legal way and was a legal way at the time to sign your name when you couldn't write it out. So that didn't stop him. He was able to patent his inventions regardless of being able to write his name or not. So he just used an X. And yes, he was the only one to have done that. So not the patent number. All right. Blair would only show his seed planter invention in action while in his house so no one could steal it.
I think that this one's going to be true because I mean it was highly competitive back then, especially for something that made
Mhm.
seed planting easier.
Yeah.
Hi, Lily. It's nice to see you again as well.
Not that we didn't like your sister. We loved all of that, but it just didn't feel the same. I agree. We've gotten into a rhythm. Okay. So, what do we think on this one? Amelia said yes. What is everybody else feeling on this one? True or false? Man, I think I'm not seeing things again. Okay. Well, I will tell you that this one is false. The last second there. I think I'm getting a delay though. All right. So he actually this I don't even know if I can describe this properly. So he would cover it with a tarp. So people could only see the results of his invention and not
Oh,
the invention itself. So he was proving that it worked, but he didn't want to show anybody. Obviously, he had to go through the patent office and all of that, so they knew. But in terms of showing other people, he would just show the end result and not the machine. So, like you said, it was very, very, very competitive back then. So this was something he was doing to protect himself and his inventions. So actually pretty smart. I'm not sure that not sure that I would buy something that I haven't seen, even if I saw the results. I don't know. I wouldn't know how easy or hard it was to
right.
actually
We use.
do.
Yeah.
All right. So Blair's seed planter invention was inspired by watching birds, like scattering seeds. True or false?
I'm gonna say that I think that it's false in that I think that it was inspired by birds, but maybe not the scattering seeds. I think it was inspired by birds. I think there's it's a trick here.
Technically, I added the seeds part, but not on the slide. All right. So we
Okay,
do
if we're
think it was
going to the
inspired.
slides, I think it
Yes.
was. So I think it's true. But I think the last part you added was false.
I just like ad libbing here. True if he loves birds, but false if he didn't. Well, interesting. I mean, you can be inspired by things you aren't particularly fond of, I will say. I came up with my first company actually while I was walking my dog. I'm not, I love dogs. It had nothing to do with dogs. I don't know where it came from. It was not inspired by birds, but who's to say? Okay, so we're thinking false, a couple of falses, and a true.
I think it's true that we have two people that think false.
All right, so it's a little bit weirder. So he was actually watching children play a marble game, and he
Hmm.
saw how they could be rolled and dropped into holes very, very easily, which he saw as mimicking the sowing of seeds. I don't know. I know you guys live like on a farm. Yes? No?
Yeah,
Um,
farming community. Yeah.
so you're more you're more familiar with that kind of thing than I am. But this is actually what led to the development of the seed planter, which sort of mechanized the whole process. But yeah, children playing a marbles game, not birds. Birds would have made sense, which is why I use that. But marbles instead. Yes, one of Amelia's sisters. All right. So, true or false, Blair was the first Black American to receive a patent.
I'm gonna say I think that this one is false. I think that there might have been more before him. What do you guys
Okay.
think?
All right. We've got our first false. Fox, fox, fox. I'm guessing that's false, false, false.
Darn autocorrect.
I know, right? All right. A true. So we're kind of split on this one. Okay. If we're assuming that Fox, Fox, Fox was false, it is false. So this one is actually kind of confusing. I had to look in a couple of different places for a real answer here. So he was the first inventor to be identified as Black by the U.S.
Hmm.
Patent Office, but not considered the first Black American to be awarded a patent. If you can follow all of that. So, most
Mm-hmm.
historians agree that it was someone named Thomas L. Jennings who invented a way to dry clean clothes, very important, in 1821. So, well before the invention of, I guess I shouldn't say before Blair's invention. So, first to be identified as Black, and yet not the first, not the first one to be awarded a patent. Very, very convoluted, in my opinion. But there is your answer. It is false. All right. Next one. I think this might be the last Henry Blair question. All right. So Blair's cotton planter invention was so successful that his critics used it.
I'm gonna say I think this one is true.
Okay. Our one and only cotton planter question. The others were related to his seed planter. So he did a couple of things.
Okay, so let's see. We have um, what's the critic? And Lily says she thinks that it's true, but she wants to know what a critic is.
So a critic is someone who is basically saying that your thing doesn't work. that is the basic here. So someone who is criticizing you and saying that there's no way this is ever going to become a thing. That is in very plain informal language. If you were to look up critic in a dictionary, I feel like stuff and thing won't be in there. But all right. So I think we're all going true on this one, regardless
Yep.
of my definition of critic. This one is true. So there were a lot of skeptics, a lot of critics over this. But once they saw the results, they started using it themselves rather than trying to like one up it, because that was actually very common at the time. So either one upping yourself or one upping someone else's invention. They were like, okay, well, this does the job. We don't need to go any further with this. So sorry about that. We were wrong. You were right. We're now going to use your thing. All right. So our next inventor is Joseph Winters. So exact date and location unknown for him as well. But he was born sometime in 1816 in Virginia. His inventions revolved around fire escape ladders. So your standard like building one, as well as for train cars. Obviously, train travel was much more common really than it is today. I don't know how many train trips you've been on. I've been on several, but it's not like my everyday thing anymore. So he died in 1916, exact date unknown, in Pennsylvania, but he was 100 years old, you guys.
Oh, that's amazing.
That is amazing, right? Our last person was 53. He lived to be 100. So he was doing something right, I have to say. Um, I c I can only aspire to be as healthy as Joseph Winters. All right, so true or false, Winters was known to test his fire escape ladders by escaping out of windows while on a moving train.
That's definitely commitment. If that's true, that that would be one way to test it out. I'm gonna say I think this sounds cool. I'm gonna say that I think this one's true, despite the fact that he lived. That sounds like he would not live to 100 if he did, but
Well, maybe he was, like, really super good at it. I mean,
right.
that would sell a lot of fire escape ladders.
I
I
I
don't
have
know.
to agree. If I saw a demonstration like that, I would be like, all right, that works,
Let me buy all of them.
right?
I li I think false, but if it's true, mad respect. I like that. Yes, right? Okay. So, I don't know if Lily answered yet.
I don't see her answer yet.
I feel like it's more dangerous than he realized. So, probably no. Okay. It's, to me, potentially even weirder.
Okay.
So he would be in meetings with investors, and he would literally jump out of the windows during meetings to go down his escape ladder. I mean, again, commitment in a slightly different way. So he was able to obviously prove that this worked. I feel like if I jumped out of a window during meetings, there would be like repercussions. I don't know. So obviously he didn't like first light the building on fire or anything. He just leapt
Right.
out of windows. Everything was all set and ready to go. It surprised a fair number of people. Um, but it was obviously showing the importance, and showing is always better than telling. So, kind of like with the seed planter, even though it was partially hidden and whatnot, showing is really going to be the proof. So, if you can jump out of an investor meeting through the window and survive down to be 100, I guess we'll buy your thing. That was a very I kind of hope I maybe I just didn't find it, but I kind of hope he also did it on trains. I mean, let's just be honest. All right, so Winters once tried to invent a fish lure that would light up underwater. Going a totally opposite direction here. Power.
I feel like this one is false.
Okay.
I don't like technology. I mean, I could see them trying to invent it, but I just don't see what the technology they had available for them to they're still on the jumping out of the
I know,
window.
yes. I loved that one.
I feel like there's two answers. One, he was testing it and showing it, and the other was he's like, all right, I'm done with the meeting. I gotta go. I
Peace
haven't
out.
escaped.
I mean,
Oh.
yes. There will be more fun ones, I promise. All right. Focusing on the light up fish lure. What do we think? Amelia said false, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else want to answer this one? All right, true and true. Okay. So this one is true. He was not
Interesting.
successful though. So kind of like what you were saying in terms of technology that was available. But he was an avid fisherman, and like all good inventors, he identified a need that he had, and he was aiming to improve the efficiency, of course, of fishing, but also enjoyment. I don't know how much anybody who's listening, watching, has been fishing. I really love fishing. So I still don't know that I've seen a light up lure, but maybe they exist now. Um, Growing up, I always used fresh worms that I literally dug up myself. So I don't know. But like I said, like a good inventor, he was constantly trying to solve problems. And make improvements on things, but this one was not a success. So he tried, didn't succeed. Okay. So, Winters invented fire escape ladders because he had a near death experience and was afraid of fires, like of dying in a fire.
I feel like this sounds pretty logical to me, so I'd say I think this one's true.
Okay.
What do you
A-
guys think?
Anybody else? Ooh, going with a bold false. All right. I'm always curious when people say false. What part of this do you think is false? And like what would be the right answer or something?
So it looks like we have a couple new people that just hopped on. You guys can join in, just answer the questions true or false. If you don't know the answer, make your best educated guess, or just let us know that you're joining in.
Yes, absolutely. I always forget to say at the beginning, this is not a quiz. We're not scoring you. Getting things wrong is fine. You are learning. You are learning new things. All right. So, major false on these. I'm really curious why you guys think this is false. It is false, but again, I would love to hear what you guys think. So, it wasn't him. It was actually his it wasn't him. So, he was afraid of heights.
Hmm.
Um and so despite that, he wanted to make sure that people were able to escape fires. And hopefully in a way that eliminated the fear of heights problem. So now knowing that he is afraid of heights, as am I, now knowing that
Jumping out a
and
window. Oh my
jumping out of windows
gosh.
on like the regular, I feel like more mad respect.
Yeah, because he was seeing that there were so many people that were in danger, and so he was
Yeah,
like, I need to convince everyone to add these to buildings. That's crazy.
right?
And
Yeah,
trains
so
and things.
that was I know, exactly. So this was apparently a very big problem at the time, things catching on fire and needing to escape. So there was a need, but to get over I'm telling you what, I just turned I just turned 40 on Sunday, and I am not over my fear of heights. I don't know that I ever will be. I will not jump out of any windows during meetings. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm literally in the basement of my house right now. I am underground where I prefer to be. So anyway, yes, no near death experience, wasn't afraid of fires. He was afraid of heights and yet invented a ladder. Okay, so did he also dabble in music, inventing a unique type of harmonica?
I'm gonna say that I think he did dabble in music because he seems like a guy who has a lot of different interests. But I don't think that it's a harmonica.
Okay. All right, so now I see the answer from the other one. Afraid of fires, but invented for a different reason. Got it. Yeah, I didn't find anything that said he was afraid of fires, but I don't know. Maybe he was also afraid of fires, but he's definitely afraid of heights. Okay, so did he dabble in music and invent a unique type of harmonica? Amelia said false. Anybody else want to add? Torn going with true. Okay, fair enough. Lily, what do you think? Also going with true.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm outnumbered. Let's see who's right,
Outnumbered.
guys.
This one is true. So
Oh,
he
neat.
had a love of music. And so he took those things together and offered a new sound or way of playing a very specific type of harmonica. I didn't list this in the beginning. I didn't want to like list the fishing lure and whatnot, because that's not really what he was known for. But this was something that he did. So, like you said, he dabbled in a lot of different things, and so many inventors do. All right. This one I think is the last one for him. Of Winters made a kite large enough to lift his safety ladder off the ground.
This just sounds so wacky that I kind of want it to be true, but I think that it's false.
You have no idea how many times kids say that in my club classes. They're like, I really want this to be XYZ, like true or false. Like, please let this be true, or please let this be false.
Yes, I think we had that with the deadly creatures trivia
Oh, yes.
question
Deadly
was like,
Creatures was
oh, I
great.
please not true.
Oh, yes. Okay, so should be true. All right. I think Isabel is still torn and not like committing. All right, going with true. Everyone's going with true. This one's false and it's more fun. At least I mean, I
Really?
guess it depends on who you ask. So he built a cat to built a cat. He built a kite to lift his cat. So he was very interested in the dynamics of flight, as was common and popular at the time. From all accounts, his cat was fine. Nobody worry about his cat. But he did make a kite to lift his cat to like test the limitations and whatnot of flight. So yeah, I actually really wanted that other one to be true. Like, let's fly the ladder up to the tallest part of the building. Since I am afraid of heights, like let's make this super cool kite that does it. That would have been awesome, which is why I did it that way. But just his cat. I don't know. Still super, yeah, first flying cat. Interestingly enough, it probably wasn't. I'm just gonna leave that there and maybe go back, and I believe bizarre inventions might cover flying cats. So just gonna leave that there. All right, our next inventor is Alexander Miles. So we have a little bit more information about him. So he was born May 18th in 1838 in Ohio. He invented an automatic mechanism that closed the elevator shaft door when the elevator was not on the floor, a specific floor. Before that, it was just open. So he died at 79, so not 100, but on May 7th, 1918 in Minnesota. So he moved around a little bit. Some of the other folks stayed in their general area, but Ohio to Minnesota is quite the trek. All right, so that is him. So now, did he have sort of a near-death experience? Alexander Miles nearly fell into an elevator shaft, inspiring his automatic doors.
I'm gonna say I think this one's true.
Okay. What does everybody else think? We're still liking the cat. It is a good story. A surprising number of people attach their cats to things. I'm just going to say that.
Okay, it looks like Isabel says she thinks this one's true. We just have to wait for Lily. What does she think? Do you think that it was Alexander had a near-death experience?
Reading about this, by the way, elevators before his invention sounded downright frightening.
She says, "Yikes! I hope false."
Or IHOP Fox, depending on how you read it, which I think is fantastic. I hope false. This one is false. So actually, honestly, to me, I would rather fall down an elevator shaft than my daughter. So this would frighten me to my
Oh
core.
yeah.
So his daughter actually almost fell down an elevator shaft, and he got right on that, like, dad to the rescue. So he wanted to ensure that elevator doors would close automatically, because there were, like, super dangerous gaps between the elevator car and the shaft wall. Like I said, I'm already afraid of heights, and I'm also claustrophobic, and, like, going up a tube higher that has, like, no walls sounds very scary to me. Thank you. Thank you, Alexander Miles, because that seems like a solid idea right there. All right, next question. Miles was also an accomplished poet. True or false?
Hi, Tivia. Thanks for joining us. I think this one's gonna be true. I feel like this is a thoughtful guy.
Indeed. Very thoughtful.
Yes, someone else says that they appreciate his invention. Oh,
Same.
that looks like
Oh
just
no, what is happening?
accident. Keyboard smash.
He seems like he could be a poet. All right. So true. True or false, I don't know. We're just giving up. Okay. Not a poet, but he worked as a barber. So this is actually
Interesting.
this is interesting to me because I just got my hair cut today, as you might notice. It's shorter than usual. And you talk to your stylist or barber about everything. I don't know
Right.
how they even remember everything. Like I was talking to my husband about this on the way. I was like, she knows more about me than like everybody else in my life, and she somehow remembers all of that. So working as a barber really gave him insight into his community and their
Mm.
needs. So that really kickstarted a lot of the things that he worked on. Now the elevator shaft thing was very very personal, but he did do other things, and also being a paid barber gave him some financial stability to be able to go and do his own things. So there was really a lot of practicality around being a barber in his community.
Yeah.
All right. Although his design was advanced for the time, that design is not used in elevators today. Remember what we
Um,
said about patent definitions.
I would say that I'm gonna say that I think that this one is true.
Okay. We've got a false. I know there are more people here than are saying answers. So
I think they're
do not
enjoying
be
the
shy.
learning about the different inventors. Okay, Tivia says that she thinks this one's true.
Fantastic. All right. Do we have an answer from Lily? What do you think? Although it was advanced for the time, it's not used in elevators today. All right, true. So only Isabel went false, and she is correct. So
Really?
it was so groundbreaking that it actually is standard, at least in part, in today's elevators. So yeah, he was very, very forward thinking and obviously motivated based on personal experience. So yeah, any elevator you walk into is going to have elements of his invention back then. So think about that next time you step into an elevator. All right. Miles sometimes sang while working on his inventions. True
I,
or false?
I think this one's true. What do you guys think? Isabel says this guy's awesome.
I felt so privileged to be able to learn about these different people. A few of them I'd heard of before and knew a little bit about, but not all of them. And like I said, I feel so privileged now knowing about all the amazing things they did and why they did it, and even some of the quirky things they did on the side, because why not? That's so much fun. All right, Isabel says true. True because I like doing this while I'm doing chores. Oh my gosh, my daughter Aurora sings basically nonstop. It's like yeah, a soundtrack all day long. So, I if she is inventing things one day, she will also be singing. All right, everyone, we all do this apparently, so we're going to assume that he also did. Yes. So he found that music and singing stimulated his creativity, and aided in conceptualizing and actually developing these inventions. Now, I am the exact opposite. I need complete silence to even remotely think. So Aurora and I have like very competing days. She's singing away and like I'm like, I have my sound canceling headphones on trying to come up with a single thought. So kudos to you guys who are motivated by music and singing. My brain can't handle all that. Okay, so was he extremely secretive about his inventions?
I'm gonna say I think that this one's false, just because um, of his motivation. I think that he
Mm,
didn't care as much about the money, more of more people adopting it as possible.
mm. That is solid reasoning. We're still on singing.
I remember a friend came over to our house one time, and they're like looking around at all of us. They're like, "Do you guys just sing all the time, just like the whole day?" And we're just like, "You don't?"
And you guys have a lot more people. It would just be yeah, it would be like a concert every
Yeah.
day.
Somebody would start a song, and then the rest of us would just join in dramatically, you know.
Well, Aurora's doesn't even have words. It's just like melodies, and I can't follow any of it. Life is musical. All right,
Uh,
so Isabel says false because he seems friendly, so he's not gonna be super secretive. So you said false as well because people needed this and he didn't want to keep it from them. Okay, so are waiting on Lily and, um, I don't are we pronouncing it Tavaya? I'm bad with names.
I hope we've been getting your name right, so let us know in the comments.
Yes. I'm super bad with names. Most often, I just don't even try to guess because you just never know. All right. Going once for your final answer here. All right. So, unlike our other guy who was like hiding under a tarp, he actually threw super fancy parties for each of his latest inventions. He didn't jump on any windows or anything or like fall down elevator shafts to like prove things. But so he threw parties instead. And this is what helped him network with people who might invest, who might buy, might support in other ways his inventions. So, yeah, he was known for throwing swanky parties instead. So I don't know if that falls under nice. I don't know what that falls under, but he was not particularly hiding his stuff. So whatever the reasoning may be. All right. So our next inventor is Sarah E. Good, and she was born in 1855. Exact date unknown, but in Ohio. Her main invention that she's known for is the folding cabinet bed. And she
Interesting.
died at age 50. So she is our youngest, unfortunately, on April 8th in 1905 in Chicago, Illinois, which is where I am from. Okay. So that is the brief overview of her. So you know what she did, when she's from, all of that. All right. So was her folding cabinet also a desk? Folding cabinet bed, I should say. It was a bed. But it could it also turn into a desk?
I think that's a very interesting. So it's like it like folded up into the cabinet, or it was a cabinet
Yes.
like. Oh, interesting. I'm gonna say that I think that this one is true. I think it also could turn into a desk. That would be very like multifunctional for like a small space.
Yeah, totally.
I feel like if you're gonna fold the bed up, you're gonna like look at it and be like afterwards, like, you know what else I could do with this?
I know, right? As if the folding bed wouldn't be enough.
I feel like if you're
All right.
creative, you know.
Yeah, hey. I mean, this is not something I would be able to think of, that's for sure. If so, I want one. Not sure they are available anymore. Um, but this one is true. So, like you said, it was designed for small living spaces. She had a lot of people in her community. So, going back to, community-based inventions, and this single piece of furniture could be used for sleeping and working. So, it was a desk that also had spaces for like inkwells, so you could write. I mean, like, it had everything. If you were to look this up, it's amazing the transformation that it could make. Let's just put it that way. So people in urban areas like Chicago could make the best of the space that they had available. So sleeping and working all in the same place. All right. So, was she the first Black American woman to receive a US patent?
I'm gonna say that I think this one's true.
Okay.
Looks like
All
we have a
right.
couple new people joining us. Go ahead and join in. We're just answering questions about different inventors. So put your guesses in the comments. If you don't have a guess, that's fine. Just say hi in the comments. We'll love to give you a shout out.
Yes. Think this one's true. Okay. Anybody else?
Hello, my doggy dog.
Everyone is going true so far. Lily, what do you think? Do you think this one is true? True. Okay. Everybody said true on this one, and you guys are all correct. So, this happened in 1885. And as you can imagine, this broke open a whole bunch of barriers. It takes one person at a very minimum, and now this future generations were completely opened up for Black inventors, female inventors, and yeah, there were a lot more people who got involved as a result. So if you join um, my live class or the recording or however you would like to join tomorrow's Love of Learning Science Club, I'm going to be doing 5 more Black inventors, and there are more women in there. So I actually did them in order of date of birth. So there will be more women tomorrow if you decide to join us, which I hope you do. Okay. So, Good often had men demonstrate her folding cabinet bed so it would be taken more seriously. She might have
I,
gotten a patent for it, but how is she demonstrating it?
I think this one is true. I can see her having like different people that are kind of selling it, especially if it's going to have like a desk kind of demonstrate, especially if it was going to be marketed towards men, you know,
Yeah,
they were going to be traditionally the one that was going to have the desk in the household.
absolutely true. Yeah, solid reasoning. And see, that's what we try to do during these classes. Like, let's think through the reasoning of why this might be true or false. That's not to say that that reasoning is always accurate, but that's kind of what I try to go for um, when I'm writing these. All right, we have another true. Anybody else? By the way, there is a woman tomorrow who I just wanna hang with. I'm just gonna put that out there. She seems like a fun time. I mean, it is free for you to join, 7-day free trial. You don't have to give a credit card, so you don't have to remember to cancel anything. I just want you to enjoy, honestly, because, yeah, she's a fun time. All right, we're going with true. This is actually false.
Really?
So she demonstrated everything personally. She had a furniture store,
Oh,
and
interesting.
she often really surprised people actually by doing it herself. This was very out of the ordinary, apparently. But of course, seeing it transform must have been amazing by itself. So you could see the benefits, the versatility, and then she also felt that demonstrating in person really showed that like this was her thing, and
That
that
totally
she
makes
took pride
sense.
in her work. So yeah, see, once you see the answers, you're like, oh yeah, totally makes sense. Although honestly, I could have seen it go the other way as well, which is why I wrote it that way. You just, all right. So she was known to sketch new furniture designs on napkins.
I feel like this one is true. What do you guys think?
Power move. I like this girl. Yeah. The women are super interesting. I have to, and not that the others aren't. Definitely not saying that. But yeah, they just go about it a little bit differently, which I found to be fascinating just in general. All right. Think this is true. Maybe she's like writing napkins on her like desk that she's folded from her bed.
Right.
Yes, we like you too, Lily. I think I think Isabel meant Sarah, but we also like you. True. Okay. All right. Let's see what we got here. I think I got everybody on this one. I try to like pay attention to the time that everyone's putting in, but I always get things a little bit off. So this one, it could be true. All right, I was missing one. All right, so this one's I like to say even more interesting or even more weird. She actually designed them on the walls of her furniture store. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, it really was because it allowed her customers and staff to have input. So she would just draw on the walls and people would walk up and give her feedback on what changes she should make. So,
That totally makes sense. She
yeah,
she crowdsourced. Oh,
she
so that
she
yeah.
did.
That's
Yes,
super cool.
exactly. So she would have initial concepts and then people would come in and suggest improvements or changes and all of that. So, yeah, I have to say, spoiler alert, none of the others did that. Yeah, that was definitely unique to her. Okay, so her patent model was a sketch she had drawn, not drawn on her wall and cut out from the wall to submit as her patent drawing. I read that all sorts of wrong, but hopefully you got the idea.
I'm gonna say that I think that this one is false.
Okay. What do you think she did instead?
I
If
think
it's
she
false.
probably made another sketch, just like
Okay,
based on the one on the wall.
got it. Okay. All right. Gonna go with true. All right. Anybody else want to take a grab at this one?
Oh, excuse me.
What do we think? True or false? Did she take those sketches from her wall, cut them out, and submit them for patents?
Okay, Lily and both Isabel and Lily think that this one's true.
Okay. Going once. What do we think? I know that I'm waiting on somebody, and I always feel bad when I give away the answer before they reply. All right, here we go. So, it's cooler. She
Really?
actually hand carved it in meticulous detail. I
Wow.
honestly can't even picture that. So it really showed her, first of all, her dedication, but her dedication to quality and functionality, specifically. And obviously, she had a lot of skill. Um, I couldn't hand carve anything, let alone a desk cabinet bed. Like, that is well beyond my capabilities. So she was able to turn her ideas into, yeah, like 3D, like today's 3D printing, except
Yeah.
I don't know, way more complicated. And I had never heard of anybody submitting their designs that way. I mean, typically it's on some sort of paper, whether that
Right.
be a napkin, or I don't know, cutting it out of your wall. I mean, typically it's a drawing, a sketch of some kind. But nope, she went the extra mile and hand carved it. So, oh, your dad could? Yeah. Yep. Not in really anybody in my spheres capabilities. Now 3D, a 3D printer, I think might be a possibility in my sphere. Okay, so Granville T. Woods is our last person for today. So he was born on April 23rd in 1856. Another one in Ohio. So he invented what is known as the synchronous multiplex railway telegraph, but he also had a lot of other patents, but we are going to be talking about this. So essentially, what this is a way for trains to communicate with each other. There were a lot of train accidents at the time,
Yeah.
because they had no way of saying like, "Hey, I'm coming," and so unfortunately, it was available, trains, but not particularly safe. Kind of like the elevator, like it was there, but not a particularly safe form of transportation. So he died on January 30th in 1910 in New York City, and he was 53 as well. So we had two 53s, a 50, a 79, and a ripe old 100. So, and this guy did a whole lot, even though this is the biggest one that he was known for. Okay, so that's a little bit of background. All right. So Granville T. Woods had no formal schooling beyond age 13. True or false?
I'm going to say that I think this one is true.
Okay.
I think that he was a clever guy. Sounds like it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anybody else? Did he have no formal schooling beyond age 13? What do we think?
Hush.
Teddy is trying to join in on the fun. Kiwi the cat says false. All right, so Kiwi, do you think he was older or younger? I'm just curious. And anybody else who has a guess on this one? I don't know. Fair.
That's a fair answer.
It is. It is. And another true. Okay. So here we go. He was actually much younger. I don't
Oh,
know. I
wow.
mean, to me, the difference between a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old, despite only being 3 years, like they're different, development wise. So he taught himself to be an engineer. Um, he dedicated himself to learning through books and experience, and he became, as we showed before, a very prolific inventor. But to be a self-taught engineer is incredible. I've probably mentioned this in other trivia classes, but I am married to an engineer and he has a PhD in it. So he has done all of the things. I actually I checked with him on quite a few things about what is possible like during this time period so I can phrase questions in a certain way. And yeah, this is insane. He was clearly awesome and amazing. All right. So let's talk about his relationship with Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison once took Woods to court, claiming he, as in Edison, invented the railway telegraph system first.
I'm going to say that I think this one is true.
Okay.
Just based on what I know about Thomas Edison.
Not a fan.
Oh, well, even if he didn't do it to this guy, he did it to other guys, and he worked
He
at
did
the
it to other
patent.
guys.
Oh, yeah. He didn't invent the light bulb.
I was going to do him tomorrow,
Oh,
and
sorry.
oh no, no, absolutely not. I canceled him for tomorrow to do the other 5 Black inventors because I found them to be sorry, Thomas Edison. I found them to be more interesting and fascinating. So he has been bumped. So yeah. Plus I had a Thomas Edison question in here. So all right. We're getting dogs and cats joining in. All right. We have a couple of trues, actually all trues so far. All right. So I think we think this one is true, is where we're going here. All right.
Oh, one person says false.
Oh, did we get a false? Okay. It hasn't come through for me. Oh, there it goes. I do have a delay. I'm so sorry about that. Okay. So this one is true. But Woods was successful. He was able to prove that his invention was the original and that he had developed it independently without infringing on any of Edison's prior patents. So now going back to the very beginning, we talked about a patent being something that you designed and it doesn't like step on the toes of other people's designs. Now, typically the patent office is able to figure that out. But in this case, I guess Thomas Edison was, I don't know, not convinced. So he took Woods to court, but Woods ended up winning that court battle. So there you have it. Okay. So after Woods won in court, he and Edison worked together on several inventions. Did they basically make up and decide to join forces?
I'm going to say false on this one. I don't feel like Edison was the working together type.
All right. See, this is the other reason I didn't do edit. I have too many Edison questions today. I need to like give some space between today's Edison and tomorrow's Edison. So
So we have one false, so 2 falses between me and let's see who it is. Isabel.
okay.
So I'm gonna see chat.
What do you guys think? After Woods won in court, he and Edison worked together on several inventions. All right, we have another false. Lily, I know I've run over. We're getting close to the end because this is our last guy. False. Well, people can like, I don't know, learn the error of their ways, but you guys are all correct. So Edison actually wanted to work with him after this.
Interesting.
But Woods turned him down. He wanted his independence. He wanted to do his own thing. Prestige and financial security would have likely come with either of the positions that Edison offered him. But yeah, he wanted to do his own thing and make a name for himself as opposed to being attached to another person. Okay, so Woods sold several of his patents. Now, that is something else that we have not talked about patent-wise. Once you hold a patent, you can sell it to another person, another company, so you do not have to hold it forever if you do not want to. So they can both expire if you let them, or you can sell them. So a little bit of extra information about patents. Normally, I think a very boring topic that we've somehow made interesting.
I think that this one's probably true because he did invent so many different things.
So you think at some point he's got to start selling them off?
If he isn't going to pursue all of them personally, like
That
Sarah.
makes sense. Okay. Lily says, no way. He held on to them. All right. Anybody else have an answer for, okay, a true? So we have a couple trues. Isabel, what do you think? Did he sell any of his patents?
We're fighting up against weather, so I just need
All right. I am going to reveal the answer in case you've stepped away. Okay, so this one is true. Now, despite the fact that he wanted to be independent, I kind of think he wanted to be independent of Edison mostly. But so he sold to some major companies, General Electric and Westinghouse. So this is actually where he gained financial security and ensured that his inventions could be developed and distributed on at scale that he just couldn't. He There were some things you can't achieve alone. So he didn't want to be tied to Edison so much, but he did sell some inventions in order to make money so he could continue to invent more things. All right, this might be the last question. All right, Woods invented an early version of the cotton candy machine in 1897.
I'm going to say that I think that this one is true. I think that each one of the inventors kind of show that they have a little bit of fun and whimsy and creativity. And I think that this might be his little bit of creativity.
Yes, that is definitely one of the themes that I was picking up on as well. Even if their other inventions, like, didn't work out in the end, I think that yeah, exactly. They showed a bit of whimsy and creativity, I think is exactly how I would describe it. Okay, so again, the question is, Woods invented an early version of the cotton candy machine in 1897. True or false? Cotton candy is good. Sole reason to say true.
Lots of truths so far.
Going true. Isabel might have stepped away. It's kind of what I'm thinking here. Okay. So the early version of the cotton candy machine was invented in 1897. Sadly, not by him. This was another one where I was like, husband, what was possible at this time? So he invented an amusement park ride. So
that's fun.
apparently at this time, like, amusement parks were taking off. They were very, very, very popular. And technology, as you might imagine, knowing amusement park rides, technology sort of like played a role, still plays a role. So yeah, he invented an amusement park ride in 1892. So there you go. That was one of his contributions, which is interesting because very, very different from the other things that we know him for. So, what was your favorite fact today? Anybody have a favorite fact?
I'm going to have to say that jumping out the window to demonstrate, that was my favorite. Personally.
That is hard to beat, right? Yes. I would say for me, that one and Sarah, like, hand carving her invention to submit for her patent. I mean, that's insane dedication right there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Another one for the carving. That's pretty incredible. All of them. Aw. Fair enough. These 5 individuals were absolutely amazing. Okay, if you have not already, please download the freebie. So it is a quilt project, not a fabric related quilt project. This is all paper. But it's asking you to fill in things like their early life, their education, their challenges, their accomplishments, any of your favorite facts. So all of those things, and then you can make them into an inventor's quilt, which is really fun. So you can write in different colors, you can color, just sort of make it your own. And if you do that, please, please, please drop a picture in the comments here. Like, come back to this. I would love to see your quilt in action. Each of the individual inventors has two different types of quilt squares. So you could make one with 10, or you could make one with 5. It would be very uneven. But your choice. Or here's the other option. You can join tomorrow, and that is also going to be 10. So same deal. But I would love to see your quilt project. There you go.
And if you guys want more Inventor products, tell us a little bit about the other different things that you have available for 15% off.
Yes. So I do have other inventor related products. They are focused on writing. So some would you rather type things. Would you rather meet or be specific inventors that are in outlined in the product? Let's see, I probably should have a probably should have a list up in front of me to make sure I have everybody. Let's see. Yes, opinion writing is mostly what we're going for here. So opinion writing, and then if you join the Love of Learning Science Club, you can also get access to this quilt project. So
Very exciting. Well, you guys go ahead and check out the Love of Learning Club. You'll get access to basically a full week of different classes. So you can try out each one of the different clubs, get access to different resources. It is a lot of fun, and you guys are not going to regret checking it out.
yes, absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Heather. This is a really fun trivia.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.